We've heard a few million-dollar questions today. Where are rates going? Have asset values hit rock bottom? What are your thoughts on the tanker market today?
I basically do think we are at the bottom. The big problem is how long is the bottom? I think there's got to be long shipping at the moment. The only problem is you're going to need the cash flow to stay liquid if the upturn takes 4 or 5 years to come. I think short-term volatility is massive. You can see the average year-on-year increase is potentially up to 80%. The average year-on-year decline could be up to 40%. So we can easily double and halve year-on-year. So I see no reason why this year, with China continuing to import, they saw 6 million or nearly 6 million imported in February. There's no reason why we could not see potential increase in the tanker market this year. We're seeing more and more product trades, more exports out of the US Gulf, more triangulation around the Atlantic. There's always India in the background ready to export. So I see no reason why the market couldn't pick up fairly sharply, but we're talking sharply from a low level. The underlying story would seem to be fairly low for the time being, but the upside, as always in shipping, could be very big.
There's been a lot of talk about the product tanker sector as well, especially at a time when a lot of refineries are closing. What are your thoughts on that part of the segment?
Everybody seems to be relatively bullish products. We're moving to a longer haul trade here. We're seeing changing trade patterns. We're seeing potentially more and more refinery shutdowns in the Atlantic, whereas in the East you've got growing refining capacity, more efficient refineries. The West is still going to be needed to be fed with products, yet you're facing shutdowns here and increases there. So you're moving to a more potential East-West product trade and more triangulations around. So within the Atlantic, for example, you can get gasoline into the US, even though demand's falling, refineries are shutting. More and more exports out of the US Gulf for distillate and gasoline. There's a new refinery coming on soon. Brazil, Latin America in general, Africa, all fairly short on refining capacity. No reason why that should not pull more ships down, increase ton miles, increase triangulation, and lift the rates for the owners. But the only thing is you've got to keep the ordering under control, otherwise you're going to kill the goose.
What size classes do you think have the best potential to take advantage of a shift in trade patterns?
It's a long haul world. You've got to go, I think for crude you've got to go Vs, and for products in theory you've got to go LR2s, but the problem with LR2s is I think you're facing potentially a good couple of years with no real upside. At the moment it's MRs, but we all know that there's a lot of MR ordering. So I think you've almost got to jump ahead of the current story and look for the next one. And I think the LR2s, the order book looks small, something like 16 ships maybe. Admittedly, you can coat some more Aframaxes, but the order book is small. And if India ever does get going, yes, we've been playing that story for a couple of years, but now the refineries are shutting down in Europe and the US. That Indian story is ready to tick. So we could see potential upside there if you jump ahead and go for the largest product tankers.
Another hot topic today, a lot of people have been speaking about the LNG sector. I know you're a tanker guy, but do you have any thoughts on the market?
It's certainly a growing trade. The shale story, the issues that happen in Japan, it's a massive growing side of things, but I do worry about the ordering effect that we've seen over the last year or two. A couple of years back we saw two LNG ships ordered. 2010 we saw something like 12. Last year over 50 ships ordered, I believe. And they're starting to be ordered against no contracts. So these are expensive assets that are potentially just going to drop into the spot market, and that's a big reliance. Yes, there is massive upside. We need heavy investment in the regasification and liquefaction plants, but there's certainly some upside. It's not my thing, but I do worry about potential over ordering, similar to certain sectors in the tanker market, excessive counter-cyclical ordering.